Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle Clayton, the board chair of the nonprofit We Need Diverse Books and an author of over 12 books for kids and teens. When I was growing up, I adored stories about magic and spells and magic schools, but I rarely saw characters like me in those books. That's one of the reasons why I wrote The Marvelers and the Controverse series, which is set in a magic school in the clouds called the Arcanum Training Institute. I wanted every reader to know that they have a place at a magic school and that they deserve to be the hero of their own story. And this is especially true for trans and non binary kids. That's why I've gathered the amazing authors here with me today. This will be the first of the 3 panels to celebrate magical and inclusive storytelling. To coincide with this panel series, We Need Diverse Books will also be sending a special edition of our bookish care packages to trans, non binary, and queer youth across the US. Each package will include fun swag items like bookmarks and stickers, along with a magical book, many by our participating authors today, to show recipients that magic is for everyone. We'll be purchasing the books through 3 special independent bookstores, and you can learn about more about our care packages on our website. So I'm fortunate today to be joined with my co-host, the incredible Shannon Messenger, author of the best-selling Keeper of the Lost City series. Welcome, Shannon. Thank you so much for coming into my mischief making.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I mean, magic school books are one of those things that I wish I had a lot more of growing up because I'm old and I grew up before that was really a thing. And so that would be the book that I would have wanted to read. And I would have wanted it to be that every kid would have a chance to find one that they fall in love with as much. So I just think this is such a great way of like putting them all in one place so everyone can be like, look at all these options available to us and how cool is it that these options are available. And it's not just like one choice anymore. There's so many great ones to choose from. I am so excited to introduce you guys to who we have here to talk about their books. Charlie Jane Anders, who is the author of All the Birds in the Sky. We have Marty Dumas, who is the author of Wild Seed Witch. We have Claribel A. Ortega, who is the author of the Witchling series. We have Albie C. Williams, author of Where There Be Monsters. We have George Girage, author of Shad Hadid and the Alchemists of Alexandria. We have Lauren Magaziner, author of The Incorruptibles. And we have Dana Simpson, author of Phoebe and Her Unicorn.
We're going to do a couple of fun activities and then answer a bunch of questions. And so the first one is to break the ice. This is going to be me putting you and Shannon putting you in a hot seat, and you're going to have to pick between a couple of options and tell us why.
All right. Who should I torture? I'm going to go with Lauren. Choose your magical species, elf, orc, or gnome.
Elf all the way. Elf is better. Elf is
why?
Well, I think that elves have this like connotation of being like, I don't know, ethereal and like, I don't know, like wise and beautiful and wonderful. I don't know. They just seem much more fun.
Now I'm going to put Charlie Jane in the hot seat. Okay. Choose your ride, unicorn, Pegasus, or Kelpie.
Not just because I'm looking at Dana Simpson right now. I am going to choose unicorn because I'm just very unicorn identified. I'm wearing unicorn socks as we speak. I just really love unicorns, guys. So I'm going to go with unicorn. They're just so beautiful and they're just such majestic beasts. And they'd be like a good companion and a good friend on those long journeys. And if I had a flying horse, I would fall off in like 30 seconds.
Okay, so George, I am going to make you choose your villain. Do you want a big bad wolf, an evil queen, or a corrupt mage?
I'm going to go with the wolf because I feel like the wolf is versatile, because if I need to like tell him to go after somebody, that's not going to be me doing the dirty work. They're going to do it. The queen's going to tell me to do it, so I can't go with the queen. Same with the mage maybe. So I'm going to go with the wolf. And also, can the wolf transform? Can it go human? Can it werewolf situation? I would want that.
Sure.
I would want that too.
Miss Marty, I'm going to put you in the hot seat.
Okay.
Choose your realm. Okay, your realm. You have the following options: mystical mountains, ancient forest, or island kingdom.
I have to go with mystical mountains.
Okay.
And yes, because where I'm from, there are none. We don't even have hills, right? And so then they actually do feel super like unreal to me. Like when I see them, it looks like a fake thing, like something that popped out of a bad drawing that I did when I was a kid, but like is standing there in real life, larger than you can possibly imagine. So that's really cool. And because of it, I ended up making it the setting for like a Girl with Dragon trilogy that I have, because it feels so mystical. Yeah.
Clarabelle, you are up, and I am going to make you choose your sidekick. Do you want a helpless yet hilarious hobbit or a grumpy yet resourceful troll?
Oh, the troll for sure. I mean, I need help. And I love grumpy characters. Like, I just think they're so much funnier. Hobbits are cute, but I'm not going to be able to do everything on my own. I'm going to need the troll's help.
Dana, hot seat for you. Choose your side quest. Okay, so you're on your quest, but this is going to be your side quest while you're on your main
So
adventure.
this is what I'm using to procrastinate my real
Correct.
quest.
Exactly. This is when you've fallen off the path for a little bit. You can find a magical flower on a dangerous cliffside, which is a perilous, part of your journey, or explore a dark cavern where treasure and danger might lurk.
The answer to this depends entirely on whether I have like a torch or something. Because I'm not wandering into pitch blackness. I'll risk the cliff if I have to do that. But if I've got some form of illumination, definitely the cavern, because it just sounds like there's more going on. The cliff has like one flower and then I'm done. The cave, I could use that to put off my main quest for like a week.
Last but not least, it's Albie. Choose your stat: wisdom, strength, or charisma.
I'm going to go with charisma because I'm a very awkward person and I feel like I could use a little bit of extra of that. Maybe just a little stat boost for when I'm, on my adventure and I have to talk somebody into something, a thing I'm notoriously bad at.
Okay, so now that we've warmed up, now we can get to the important questions. Why is it important for all kids to receive an invitation to magic school?
We have a responsibility to this next generation of kids. And the thing about magic schools, and at least to me, is that they're magic in books. And the thing about books is that if you don't see yourself as one of these characters, if you can't imagine yourself as one of these characters, it's going to be difficult to get excited about them. We have data and stuff that shows exactly that. And so being able to show every child belongs in a magical school also signals to the kids that they belong in this book community, in this world of books. And I think that that's really the most magical thing we can do, is really introduce them to just how great books are.
For me, when I dream about getting invited to a magical school, I think about like being kind of special and being told that I'm special and that I deserve to like be singled out as like someone who can grow and become awesome. And I feel like that's a feeling that everybody should get to have access to, especially queer and trans kids who are so often kind of, singled out in bad ways.
Yeah, I think jumping off a little bit of what Charlie said, for me also growing up, I often felt left out of a lot of things. Spanish was my first language. My parents are immigrants. I grew up poor. I didn't have much. And books were the way that I felt like I belonged in a place. And like opening up those magic schools to everybody, letting them be a part of it is healing for kids and can be for adults as well. Can't tell you the amount of adults that read Witchlings and sort of thank me for providing something for them that they kind of lost along the way. So I just think having that place where you can belong if you don't belong in real life is really important.
And shouldn't magic and magic schools, a place that's supposed to celebrate magical people who are magic wielders, be a place that everyone finds themselves, no matter what? Otherwise, why are we creating these amazing universes if everyone can't find their invitation, their doorway, their window inside of it?
Would you be an excellent student at magic school? Why or why not? And you can choose to answer this as far as like at your own magic school or at other magic schools. That's your choose your own adventure with this question.
So I will jump in because you just made my heart flutter with the thought of having to be a student at the magic school that I created. I'd be so bad at it. I would be so bad at it. It's all about moderation and learning to like sort of like find your power, but then also strategically wield your power. Like it's very subtle. Like the whole situation is very subtle, and I am not very subtle. And so that it would be, I would just be in trouble all the time. I would just be in trouble all the time. In the world of the Wild Seed Witch, when you make a mistake, it with your magic, it does what magic does, which is grows, and it so then flowers just end up all over the place, and it can be like a lot of them. And so I would just be constantly like covered in vines, and it'd be a rough situation for me.
My magic school is actually an anti-magic school. So it's all about a world in which sorcerers are evil. And it kind of flips the script a little bit. So it's basically all of the non-magical people who are training with technology to learn how to fight these power-hungry sorcerers. So I think that I would absolutely just be catastrophic at my own school. Like it would not, it's so physical. Like they're always sparring and they're always doing obstacle courses and they're running laps and they're running laps again and then they're running laps again. I just don't think that I can hack it.
I don't have any books about a magical school, although now I wanna. I'm sort of formulating one in my head, like where a whole book where Phoebe has to go to unicorn school as an exchange student and learn how to do unicorn magic, and is good at it for a human, but not great at it by the standards of the school, which I guess is my answer. Phoebe's basically a self-portrait, so that's my answer. Phoebe would do well. I would do well by my own standards, but not maybe by the impossible standards of unicorn school.
I'm really not sure how great I would do at my own magic school. I was not a good student as a kid because I have ADHD and I'm autistic. So I was doing bad. But once I got into the later years of high school, I got a lot more support at the school I was in because I moved. And I do think that a lot of the adults in Where There Be Monsters are extremely supportive of Glory, who's also neurodivergent. So while I might not ace all my classes, I feel like I have a chance of at least getting through it okay.
Not to be overly serious about a fundamentally silly question, I do feel like the question of how well I do really hinges on how much support I was getting. Because, like, you know, as a closeted trans kid in an era when we didn't have the resources we have now, and if there had been people around supporting me through all of that, I think I would have done much better. So if you want kids to do well in school, meet them where they are and support them.
That's a perfect message. And also, we need the books that feature them, that show them getting the support and model for adults as well. How do you support kids where they are and reinforcing who they are? Because that is also important. And I don't think that we have enough books that showcase all of the different kinds of kids going through this really tough time, especially when the outside world is trying to invalidate who they are and how important they are, and we don't have the resources. And so that's why it's so important to give young people things to read and to give these adults models of this is how you create a community that makes sure that every kid gets to be a hero and is supported and is okay. That can just say, I'm okay. I'm okay today. And hopefully I'll be okay tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And these are the things that I need. So I think that that's so important. And that leads to my next question. Growing up, since we were talking about our younger selves, what were some of your favorite fantasy or magic stories that made you excited about the genre in the first place? Because I think that our first introductions to magic, that first taste, for me, it sparked something in me that I became insatiable reading and wanting magic, even though I couldn't find myself in it. I was absorbing it and saying, how can I make myself a space in this big, big, big genre that is fantasy?
So I'm like super old, which I'm so excited for. I've been waiting since I was like 7 to like enter my crone era, and I feel like it's here. I'm like, yes, this is it. It's time. So my books from when I was young, the ones that made me fall, are like very old books, like the ones that we think of as like Western classics. So like for me, the one that like tipped me over was reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is just like such a I don't know, I want to say like cheap answer, but it's the actual answer. So then there was that, the idea of the portal. And also for that series, I really loved that how much the perspective jumped in every book. Like that was also really cool because it just gave you a different angle on the society, which was really real feeling, but also had magic in it in ways that you would not have been able to get if you had always been following our Peter, Lucy, Susan, and Edmund gang, right? Like directly. So then that was really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna show off my Ozma tattoo upside down, I guess.
Oh my God. Beautiful. I love
My
it.
mother
Oh my
read
God.
us the Oz books. We probably didn't read all of them because there are like a lot, but we were read a lot of the Oz books, and the one in particular, I think it appealed to me partly because it had a sense of fun to it. There were laughs and there were cute characters, and to me as a little kid, it appealed to me a lot. I like to think my work has a sense of whimsy now. It's always something that appealed to me. The other thing was, of course, not to blow the ending of the second Oz book, but it's been like 110 years. Read a book.
Okay.
The protagonist of the second one is a little boy who at the end discovers that he is secretly a little girl under a curse and actually the Princess of Oz. And I cannot tell you how much I wished somebody would come along and say that to me. I think Ozma is an icon for a fair number of trans women because we did not have a lot of literary icons for ourselves, and we still don't. There was a sense of possibility, I think, beyond just my own little confused identity. There's a sense that what you are now isn't destiny.
Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle was super important to me as a kid. And like, I only realized recently how weird and messed up that book is. It's super dark
amazing.
and weird. It is, when I was a kid, it's like, oh, it's just so awesome. And they go and rescue their dad. And I'm like, no, that is a weird book. But also The Phantom Tollbooth by Norman Juster was like everything to me. Like,
it's like my favorite book. I can't believe I didn't mention it.
Oh
Yes.
my God. Yeah. With the dog, with the big clock. Like when I was in, I don't know, 4th grade, 5th grade, like they had a thing where you could like make a mural at the school. And so we chose the Mathemagician from the Phantom Tollbooth. We were like, this dude is going to be on the giant wall at the school. We love this dude. Dana mentioned Whimsy. That book is whimsical as all get out. It is just a very silly, kind of goofy book that just doesn't take itself seriously for a second. And I feel like that was the vibe that I was really into as a little kid. I liked all kinds of stuff that was just like loopy and silly. And like, I liked a lot of comics too. So I don't know. I feel like Phantom Tollbooth really did a lot to shape me as like the weirdo I am as an adult, for sure.
What I want to know is, what do you hope young readers feel or discover when they read your book?
So Witchlings is all about the power of community and sticking together, which I feel is so important right now, especially. And I hope that kids realize that the answers to the big problems of the world can start in their own little hometowns. And sometimes things feel insurmountable, but if you start at home, if you start in your community, if you start with your classmates, you can make more progress than you could ever imagine. Because if we all do that at the same time, then suddenly it becomes a movement, right? It can feel overwhelming right now. The world feels overwhelming, but I think we all have the tools to do what's right at home. And I hope that Witchlings teaches them that looking out for their classmates or their siblings or their family members could be a revolutionary place to start. Just caring for one another sometimes is enough, especially when we're so small and our voices aren't taken as seriously.
Shad Hadid in The Alchemist of Alexandria carries the same exact message to a degree. I would say that the other message is to be authentically yourself. And that's the same message as in Bashir Boutros and the Jewels of the Nile, which came out last month. It's essentially like you might not think that who you are and what you enjoy doing and the person that you want to be is the person who you need to be, but it's actually the opposite is true. The person that we need you to be, that society needs you to be, is yourself. And so I think that if kids can take that away, they'll have walked away with something pretty powerful that they can use in their daily life and feel more confident in themselves.
I love that theme when that comes up, because I think authenticity is just something that so often it gets kind of pushed down, like, no, conform, and it's so much better to be authentic, and be real and be you, and what a great world when you're allowed to do that and be celebrated for it instead of pushed down.
Yeah, in Incorruptibles, there are different squads that work together, and throughout the entire book, the entire focus from all of the captains is teamwork. And that is like the one lesson that they try to instill in all of the kids, is that, you want to work together. You want to, that no battle is too hard if you are on a team and you are playing to each other's strengths and working together. So I want young readers to walk away feeling empowered, because a lot of this book is about basically standing up to people who are a lot more powerful than you are, and especially the people who are punching down. And so when you see somebody punching down, even if it feels almost impossible to fight back, I want readers to know that they can, and you can do it with the help of your team.
I guess I just hope that people spend time with my characters and feel less alone, see some of themselves, see the way that my characters connect with each other, and think, I'm weird, but there's a lot of us, and there's somebody weird out there who I can be friends with. Like, I think if you read the story in order, which there's seldom any real reason to do, but if you read it in order, Phoebe changes over time, because she's pretty insecure in the beginning, and once she realizes she's worthy of having a unicorn for a friend, she gets a lot more confident. And I guess I hope that a kid reading that will identify with her enough to take some of that confidence. You are good. You too are good enough to have a unicorn for a friend.
Okay, I'll go really quickly. So I wrote this young adult trilogy. This is the third book, Promises Stronger Than Darkness. And it doesn't have magic in it. It's more like Star Wars or Guardians of the Galaxy or Steven Universe. There's it's kind of magical on the edges, but it's really kind of what Damon and I was saying. It's got a lot of chosen family, but also all of my characters who are mostly queer teenagers out there helping to save the galaxy from some really bad people. They've been told their whole lives that they're worthless, that they're no good, that, that they don't belong, that they can't belong. And they find each other and they find strength, and they discover that they have so much to offer and so much to give the universe. And that's something that I really hope kids take away from this, that everybody deserves to be out there helping to save the galaxy. Everybody deserves to be a hero in their own story and other people's stories. And that's what I wanted when I was a kid. So that's what I put into this book.
First of all, whatever you take away from the book is what you take away. I don't want anybody pressure. This is my interpretation, my hope, my prayer, little feel good feeling that's being sent out to you, is that there are so many people who don't realize that they have amazing in them, right? And there are people who honestly don't maybe have very much amazing in them, but they feel like they do. And so then they go on and they do all kinds of stuff that can impact other people. I guess sometimes good, but also sometimes not so much for the good. But in this story, our character that we follow actually is gifted with a magic of influence, and she didn't know it, right? But B, she does not ever, until the end of the series, spoiler alert, realize exactly how powerful her magic of influence actually is. And it's interesting to me because other people can see it, literally physically see it, where she can't see it herself. And so then they can see, they're like, whoa, that magic is coming from you like a river. And most people have small streams, but she can't actually see it herself. So it takes a really long time for her to be able to come to that, because there's also responsibility that goes behind being that powerful, that she needs to be able to come to. But also she would never have guessed that was her at all. She's like, I'm pretty good at solving math problems, but besides that, I don't know, and especially her being a brown girl, that has no negative impact on her in the story whatsoever. And I just also really want that for people, that the who you are, the thing that is coming out, that it's not your determinant. Like you are you, and you will be able to be amazing, even if there are people around you who are rooting against you. Doesn't matter. Like you can dodge them, get around them, whatever, and it doesn't necessarily have to directly always be negatively impacting your life. So
I would really like kids who read Where There Be Monsters to take away the fact that curiosity and learning are really fun, and you can do them your entire life long, and that will make you a better person in the long run. And also that curiosity does not have to be limited to academic subjects. Being curious about yourself, about other people, can lead you to learn amazing things that you wouldn't have learned otherwise. And being a fundamentally curious person makes the world a fun and beautiful and amazing place.
You know, I mean, it's kind of piggybacking on George's answer. Is I feel like that's the big struggle that Sophie, my main character in the series, is dealing with, is that she's been so different her whole life that she just kind of wants to conform. I guess in that way, she is kind of like me. I've always had that personality where I prefer to disappear. Classic introvert, would rather fade into the background than be noticed. And so, you know, she starts out completely different and doesn't know why. Then she finds out why, that she belongs to this secret world. And she thinks, okay, finally, I'm going to just blend in and be like everybody else. And she can't be. And she spends a decent amount of time trying to, before she starts on her journey of realizing maybe it's better to be authentic than accepted. And maybe it's better to be me than it is to be what people want me to be. And so she has been becoming stronger and more vocal. And that's definitely something that I hope, especially for little girls, because I feel like little girls get pushed to conform even more so than boys do. But anyone really needs that message that it's okay to be yourself, be you, be authentic, find the people who accept you for that, try to stay away from the people who don't accept you for that because they're not good people, and just be you.
For the Controverse series, my magic school takes place in the sky. It moves all over the world. And I wanted to write a magic school world where, to show that we have a responsibility as magical people, right? We are amazing. We can be amazing. To make space for everyone, that there are no excuses. If you have magic and you live in a community, then there is space for everyone. Because if you're going to call yourself marvelous, that means that we are all marvelous, and that we have to create a space where everyone feels safe and like they can be protected and loved and thrive and curious. And so, unfortunately, that doesn't always happen in my world, but I'm setting the stage for that being what I want readers to take away, that it is your responsibility in a community to make sure that we all can thrive. This last few minutes, we're going to do something fun again. I know that the authors have prepared a few things for my show and tell demands. Can everyone show me their latest book? If you've got it, George. I want to see a fun item from your desk. Anybody have anything fun? Okay, yes, Lauren, I got those in the mail. They're amazing. Thank you. Bless you. Excellent. Excellent. We've got a lot of different things. Also, I want to know everyone's favorite writing snack. If you don't have it with you, that's fine too, but I need to know. Ooh,
I'm
what is
waiting
it?
until we're done here to eat these last 2 apple slices.
I'm a tea drinker. I drink like gallons and gallons of herbal tea while I write, but I don't
Tea.
snack while I'm writing.
Tea.
I'm actually so bad. So I do a daily cup of tea and also pair it with something sugary. So cookies,
Same.
wheat,
Oh
any
my
sort of
god.
croissant, whatever.
Trader Joe's makes these like knockoff M&Ms that are like, they're my kryptonite. I just cannot stop eating them.
Clary, what do you eat when you're writing?
It depends on my mood. I love cotton candy grapes. Those are my favorite. But I also really love Cheez-Its if I want something salty.
George, what are we eating? What are we eating when we're making our wonderful worlds?
So I do most of my writing when I'm like barely awake, like rolling out of bed. And so I'm not even thinking about food. I'm not really thinking period at that point. It's just kind of a jumble, and that's the best writing I get done. So no eating then. But I will say my mug is this mug I got from the St. Louis Library. It says #1 reader, and it kind of is me shaming myself because, as a lot of authors know, we don't have a lot of time to read as much as we want. And so I use it mostly for cereal, which is what I like. I'm addicted to cereal. And so that's my thing.
I shouldn't be because I think that I'm mildly allergic, but it's like an emergency food. Like these work count needs to happen and it has to be done by me kind of food, which is pecans. I absolutely like pecans, and then like put a little cheese cube with them. Judge me later. Try it first and judge me later. It's so good. Cheese and crackers wishes it could. It can't.
Well, we made it to the end, and thank you for being subject to my mischief. And I wanted to extend my deepest thanks to the panelists and my co-host Shannon for coming on today and hanging out and talking about magic and mischief and all these things. And for all of you watching, we invite you to check out these amazing authors and their books to add some joy, adventure, and magic to your reading list. Be sure to tune in for more panels coming soon, and check out our website for details about our special edition bookish care packages that are coming. And teachers, librarians, and educators who serve trans, non-binary, and queer youth, we encourage you to apply for these free packages. We cannot wait to send this magic to your libraries and your classrooms. Thank you again, and happy reading. Everyone hold up their books.